morning, everybody. Hello. Happy Giving Tuesday. It's really great to talk to you guys, I think, since convention back in June. But I'm Callie Chaplow, and I'm with Government Affairs with HEAV, Home Educators Association of Virginia. And today is Giving Tuesday. And we have a really generous donor right now who has offered during this hour to double on anything you give. So, first of all, I want to thank all of you for being here with us. You only have 24 hours in a day. I don't know what's going on with my connection, sorry. Let's see. We know those are precious hours. You only have 24 hours in the day, and we know those are precious hours, so we appreciate you spending some of them with us. Secondly, second thing is double giving. So right now we have a generous donor who is doubling up on anything you give for Giving Tuesday. So I'll talk more about that, but I just want you guys to know that right off the bat. And anyway, I want to welcome all of you who are called to homeschool, to support homeschooling, to know more about homeschooling, whether it's by nature or nurture. It takes, obviously, parents and loving people to homeschool, but it takes a community and support of one another. So thank you all for being supporters of home education. I don't know, for anybody who doesn't know who I am, like I said, I'm Callie Chaplow, and I am with the Government Affairs. We have faced some of the biggest attacks on homeschooling since its legalization in 1984. And we worked so hard last session. So many people rallied together, came together, spoke up for their very first time ever, and we defeated the worst attack we've seen on homeschooling since its legalization in 1984. But I hope you guys are ready to roll up your sleeves because we're not done yet. Those of you who got involved last year, I had so many of you come up to me at convention and tell me about it and tell me about your experience. So now it's time to tell other people about that. We need to get the word out. So we have a new governor being sworn in this January. We have a whole bunch of new delegates coming in. And so we need to prepare ourselves for the legislative attacks. We've already seen some bills drop that are, that are alarming. And we're continuing to watch them. We have spent time circling the wagons, if you will, and building up our legislative team to be ready for this. And we need you to be part of that team. So we are going to have several boots on the ground down in Richmond, advocating and educating our legislators about homeschooling. So many legislators, even those who are really big supporters and their heart is totally in the homeschooling, parental rights movement with us, so many of them don't understand the law. And so we need really great teachers and advocates down there to teach them. And we have that planned. We're working on our great legislative package so we can try to advance what we can and protect the rights we can. But I hope every single one of you at home realizes that you play a role in this too. If you've seen me with HEAV or anything before, you've probably heard me say, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And I mean it. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. If we want to protect our freedoms, we need to remain vigilant, and we need to teach our children to be vigilant, and we need to do it together, arm in arm, as families and as community. There are strength in numbers, and you guys rose up and showed that. You showed that parental rights and religious liberty are the cornerstones and foundation of society and of our beautiful country, and we need to protect that. And I think many of the legislators who we might not think would be on our side really just need to understand where we're coming from. So please, I implore you, if you have not already, get the name and number of your legislators and contact them. Contact them now before they go down to Richmond while they're still in your district, your delegate and your senator. In Virginia, we call our House members our delegates. So call your delegate, call your house member and get to know them. Let them see your face. Let them see your family. I know as homeschoolers, we don't want people, we respect one another's privacy and we like our privacy, but it is time to be visible. They're knocking at the door, they're knocking at the window, and we need to come together. And part of doing that also is your financial support. So we need the boots on the ground. We need the people. We need everybody showing up at committee meetings and contacting their legislators. But we also need to be able to, get the word out. We need to spread the message. We need to keep the lights on. We need to, pay the postage, things like that. And, we live in a society that takes money. And so I am asking you, if you're able, just to be generous with your financial support of HEAV. I said at the beginning of this that right now your support is doubled. So even if it's just $5, that's awesome. That's great. $5 is $5. And if all of our supporters chipped in $5, then we would have so many resources to be able to spread the net so much wider, to be able to build up some of the things, the projects that we have planned. So, but really the most important thing is your efforts, your, educating your legislators, letting them see, there's the legal aspect of homeschooling, right? Like understanding all the history and the minutia of the law, and that we have lobbyists for, we have, advocates. I know that's kind of not the nicest sounding word, but we really have moms who are educators and really professionals on explaining the law and interpreting the law. But what the legislators also need to see is happy, healthy, thriving homeschool families. So there's the two aspects of education, and one of those is for you guys to do. So last year, you guys know, we had SB 1031. Like I said, and like you've heard many of us say, it was the largest attack on homeschooling we've seen in Virginia history. It was an attack on parental rights, on religious liberty, and it gave all this extra authority to untrained school officials, and it was really dangerous. And the reason that we were able to stop that measure is because you guys showed up in masses. And HEAV has been monitoring every single bill that gets introduced into the legislature for 43 years. Mamas, I'm 45. So this is almost my entire lifetime. HEAV has been there monitoring every bill that's introduced. You guys realize that there are around 3,000 bills introduced every legislative session. So we are looking at every single one of them because threats to homeschooling and parental rights are hidden in all sorts of, little places in the law. And we are watching all of those. We are keeping a list of the ones that we need to monitor. And we have been doing this year after year, session after session. I first found out about HEAV when I was 20 years old. That's when I attended my first convention. And faithful as ever, HEAV has been there. And the other thing that HEAV really works hard to do is we not only lock arm in arms with all parents, but we lock arm in arms with other organizations that are working for and in favor of parental rights, religious liberty. There's several other organizations throughout the nation and throughout Virginia specifically that are advocating for school choice, homeschooling, parental rights, religious liberty, these different things. And each of them has kind of their different focus. As you guys know, given our name, Home Educators Association of Virginia, this is our central focus. And so we work really hard to collaborate with all the other organizations, even if we're not, eye to eye on every single issue. Where we do see eye to eye. We work very hard to collaborate, to come together, to put that strength together, to have consistent messaging among all of our community members and followers and things like that. And so again, to get these messages out and to keep doing this, we need your financial support. So this session is probably the most critical in a generation, really, because we saw last year was a test case, right, to see what would happen. This year, we don't have the governor as a backstop, as a guaranteed veto. Now, we are working to, be in touch with the governor's office, the new teams, the new people who are transitioning in. We're reaching out to the new legislators, and we will be doing our very best to collaborate and work with them, educate them, answer any questions they have. But last year we had a governor who guaranteed us a veto should an attack on parental rights or religious liberty get through the legislature. This year we do not have that guarantee. And so until we have that, we need you guys to reach out to your legislators to get their votes, to be ready to speak up in committee. Also, if you guys, we have on our website and I think they're going to add it to the comments below here, but we would love to hear from you. If you could share with us just a paragraph, say you're a notice of intent family or a religious exemption family, and you would be willing to share just a little paragraph, just a little vignette about your homeschooling story, about how homeschooling has been successful to you. We would love to hear from you. We would love to be able to collect, some of those stories to be able to share in committee. And we would love to know what district you're from, where you're from, so that we can let different legislators know also how many people we've heard from. If you were to take all of the homeschoolers in Virginia and you were to imagine them as a school district, it varies from year to year, but we would be around the 5th or the 6th largest school district out of 130 school districts in Virginia. That's right. It kind of teeters, but the 5th or the 6th largest among 130 school districts. That's how many of you there are. So if we can all come together, just imagine that. Imagine that. So I want to let you guys know about a couple bills that we'll be working on in addition to fighting for your rights and religious liberty and speaking out. But last year we introduced a measure that guaranteed those who have religious exemption access to testing, especially those college board tests and the pre-SAT, the pre-ACT, the AP testing that really, if you have a college-bound child, it really helps with access to different scholarship money, credits ahead of time. But now we have in Virginia where we're having children who are under religious exemption actually denied access to testing. They're trying to go to the public schools and they're trying to get tested and they're being denied access. And this is in some of the largest districts in Virginia. And this has to stop. The people who are attacking our right to religious exemption as a means of educating our children are the same people saying they're concerned that we're not testing and educating our children. Meanwhile, the same people are denying us access to testing. It makes no sense whatsoever, and it has to stop. So we introduced this bill last year. It made it to the floor of the House, and right before crossover, right when SB 1031 had died, they actually referred it back to committee, and it, kind of killed it. And so we will be bringing it back this year. We want to guarantee rights, access to testing for those under religious exemption and for those who are at home receiving their education from a licensed teacher, a Virginia licensed teacher, which is a completely legal means of compulsory attendance in Virginia. If we license you to teach in Virginia, then we trust you to teach in Virginia. And your children or the children you are teaching should not be denied access to testing for pre-ACT, pre-SAT, AP testing. So be prepared for that. We're looking at options to continue to make efforts to simplify the notice of intent process. A lot of districts do a great job processing your notice of intent, your NOI, when you filed a homeschool. There are quite a few districts and quite a few situations where there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of administrative burden. On any given year, HEAV is involved in 300 to 400 cases where there's confusion in understanding and interpreting the law. And you guys have probably all seen updates and messages from Patricia Bear with HEAV. She does an incredible job overseeing our school board monitoring team. This is our team that monitors all the school districts in Virginia. And we are just seeing countless cases where this part of the law is misunderstood. And it causes a lot of administrative burden and extra headache to the school systems, and it causes a lot of headache to the parents at home. So we just really love to see that streamlined and simplified. So we will be continuing our efforts to do that. So I think that's about it. Let me just take a look at my notes just to make sure I have everything here. Oh yeah, like I said, make sure that we have just a minute or so here to give. So if you're able to, if you have the ability to give, even just the smallest donation, please, we would love it. You know, the reality is it takes dollars. And so if you have the dollars, please be generous and share them. Right now they're doubled. Then contact your delegate or senator, please, if you have not already. And feel free to contact the governor's office too. Let them know you're a happy homeschooler in Virginia and you want to remain that way. And then tell us your story. We have a link that's put in the notes here, but it's just a little form, and it says, you know, just give us a little paragraph about your family. If you'd like to post something on Facebook or X or Instagram or any of our social media, a picture of your happy family, that'd be great. And be prepared to come down to Richmond for a field trip down to Richmond during the legislative session if you're at all able. It is really one of the best civics lessons around. And, you know, I have to say that our General Assembly does a really great job of offering a Capitol Classroom on their General Assembly website, all sorts of resources, incredible tours and tour guides. We have so much history in Virginia. We really are blessed to live in this dynamic dominion, the Commonwealth of Virginia. So really, I so appreciate you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys in Richmond. You know, please say hi if you see me down there. We have an incredible new legislative team coming together. I can't wait for you to meet some of them. We have some powerhouse mamas coming together to work for you. Just, you know, incredible backgrounds with the law and legislative work up on, you know, the Congressional Hill and in courtrooms and all over the place. All these incredible mamas coming together to work for your government affairs and advocacy team. So thank you for your financial support. We covet your prayers, and we need your boots on the ground with us. So thank you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. All right, bye.